Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. In today's video I'm going to be doing an March and April reading wrap up. I'm going to tell you right now this is not going to be a very long video because I did not read very much in March or April. I was going through a bit of a life slump. Let me tell you, March for me was very emotionally, physically and mentally draining. Very much so. And then April was not much better. April kind of just like doubled down on that. So I didn't really get much reading done. It wasn't really a priority to me. So I did not read much. I think I read three both month, like 3 books in each month. So yeah, but March definitely, I did not eat March. March ate me. It ate me. March 1, Janaya 0, because that it was a lot. And then for some reason this entire semester, like this semester, I just did my last semester of my second year in college, so I've done 4 semesters altogether, right? I don't know what the difference was between this semester and the other 3, but this one, ooh, if I wasn't someone who could persevere and kind of like see through things, this one would have made me be done. It would have made me be done. But I'm still going through. I know that I think it was just a lot of things that piled up that made it seem like much more than it was for me. But that's the explanation as to why, one, I only read 6 books within 2 months, and why this video is going to be short, because I wasn't really reading that much. It is a very clear difference. Now here's the thing, I will say the books that I read in March and April were books that I genuinely like enjoyed reading. I feel like in January, February I read a lot of books that I did enjoy, but like March and April, I'm just gonna say quality over quantity. I read less books, but most of them were like very, well, you'll see. Most of them were very highly rated books. So there's that. Now I'm gonna go through and tell you the books I read. They are in order. They are in order because there's only 6 of them. I didn't really have to guess. I didn't really have to like, it wasn't hard for me to figure out which ones, what order they were in. But yeah, you'll see. I honestly read a variety of books, I feel, but we're just gonna get into the books that I read in March and April. So at the very beginning of March, I started The Winners by Frederick Bachman, and I was reading that kind of up until March 17th, which is when my dog passed away. And then after that I didn't really read anything until the very end of March, where I felt like I could kind of like handle it. And when that was happening, the only thing that I felt that I could like handle was a romance book. So those were what I was reading. I was reading romance books until I felt like I could handle more, and I could use my brain to that extent. And the first book that I read after that was The Enemy by Sarah Adams. I'm honestly pretty sure I gave this a 5-star, and it might have just been the time that I read it, which is why I rated it so highly. But I do genuinely just love Sarah Adams and her writing and her stories. I don't know, I just really like them. This was also an enemies to lovers. I do love, or an enemies or dislike to lovers, because I feel like in romance books enemies to lovers is not really a thing. It's not really a thing, but I dislike to lovers, that was what this was. This is a part of a series, but it's interconnected standalone. So this is the second book in that series, but this is the book that was on my TBR, so I read it. And I think when I read the first book, I'm not gonna really notice. Like, I didn't notice that this was the second book. Like, I knew when I bought it that it was the second book in the series, but I didn't realize when I was reading it until like close to the end. So it honestly is not a big deal. If you read them out of order, I don't think it will change anything, because I didn't even realize. This book is about, she's a baker. Love that. And then he's like this rich chef, I think he is, and they have not liked each other since high school. And there was this incident before, like after they graduated and before our main character Ryan left, there was this like incident, and it has kind of like spurred on this hatred that our main character June has for him. And throughout the story, we're kind of seeing that. We're also seeing her cope with kind of like losing someone in her life, not like full on losing, but like kind of this person is distancing themselves. We're seeing her deal with that, while also then having to deal with Ryan coming back. Their friends are getting married, and that is why Ryan is in town and she has to see him, because they're getting married. And honestly, this just gave me what I needed to give. It was a cute, short, easy romance that was what I needed. Something that it didn't involve too much brain power. And that's why I think that I rated it so high, because of when I read this book. I think that I just needed something easy, and this was easy and it was enjoyable, and there wasn't too much conflict that was like stressing me out. And also, one thing about Sarah Adams, I know a lot of people say Elsie Silver and there's another author like are the queens of banter. I think Sarah Adams does banter so well. I love her banter. I think, like, I feel like there's not many books where I'm like laughing out loud at like the banter in the book, and her books do that for me. And this one, I think it might be one of her better ones, not gonna lie. So this was a 5-star, and I'm gonna stick with that because that's how I felt at the time, and honestly I feel that now. Now, if I read that at any other point, do I think it would still be a 5-star? I don't know, but I think it would definitely be a high 4 if I read it at any other time. But it was a 5-star, and I'm gonna stick to that. The next book I read was The Mistake by Elle Kennedy. You guys will see, this is like the last romance, like fully romance book that I read between these 2 months, because now I'm like, I can't, like, romance is not doing it for me anymore. I can't read another romance book. For some reason, they're just not hitting. Like, I start one and I'm like, this is like kind of boring, and so I like can't get into them. So this is the last one for a very long time. So The Mistake by Elle Kennedy. What did I rate this? I feel like I rated it a 4.5. Let's see. So yeah, I rated this book a 4.5. I don't really remember. I was about to say I liked this much more than I liked The Deal, but honestly I can't say that because I honestly don't remember what happened in The Deal. Yeah, I don't remember, but I remember thinking I wasn't going to like The Mistake because of like the beginning and him like kind of pining after, what was her name? Hannah, I think that was her name in the first book, pining after her. I was just like, I don't know if I'm gonna like this. I'm gonna be so annoyed and it's gonna annoy me. Like I'm not gonna like it. But I feel like the way that Elle Kennedy, I was about to just call her Elle, like I know her. I don't. The way that she did it did not irk me. Like, it didn't annoy me. It didn't make me be like, I don't want to finish this book. Like, it wasn't like the main thing that was happening, and I think that made it better. And also like how she kind of like acknowledged his feelings. I liked how she did that. I can't explain to you how she did that because it would be a spoiler, but I did enjoy how she kind of like brought up those feelings and resolved the conflict surrounding those feelings. I enjoyed that. Grace, I love Grace. Grace stands up for herself for the most part. She stands up for herself, and I really enjoyed that. I thought that was smart. She made him work for it. Sure did. And I don't know, I just thought this was really cute. And Logan is, I felt really bad for Logan because, or John, I guess. I felt really bad for him. He is going through something with his parents, and I feel like any type of deeper issue within the characters that involves parents kind of always get to me. And I felt really bad for him in this aspect. I have not personally gone through what he is going through, but I think that the way Kennedy kind of approached the situation was very respectful and very relatable, even for someone that's never gone through that. And I think she did that in a very good way. But it really made me feel for John, because her characters are very well fleshed out. They're very much 3D characters. And even though they have these bad qualities to them, they have reasons for that, and all of her characters are flawed in some way. Every single one of them are flawed in some way, but I think that they're so fleshed out that you're like, well, like, that is what a human is. So yeah, I really like this. Her books are very spicy though, so keep that in mind. Her books are very spicy, but I give this a 4.5, and I still feel like that I am going to continue the series now that I got through the book that I was kind of like scared of. I think the next book, I actually don't know who the next book is about. I have no idea. Oh, Dean. I think that's what it says. Yeah, Dean is who the next book is about, and I actually really like Dean in this book. So when am I gonna read that book? I don't know, but at some point. And then the last book that I read in March was a book that has been on my physical TBR for a very, very long time. And I said to myself, if I didn't read this book, she was getting unhauled. And I read the book. Let me tell you what I rated it, because I don't remember. I rated The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue a 4.75. This book is so beautifully written, first of all. Like, I get what people are saying. Now, me personally, I did not cry at the end of this book, but I did think that it was very sad. Like, Victoria, why would you do that to me? I thought that this was very sad, but I did not cry, but I can see why people would cry. But this book is a very beautiful book. I did tab it. Can y'all see that? They're like clearish tabs. But I did tab this book quite a lot, which I wasn't expecting to. But there's so many beautiful quotes in this book, and kind of, this book talks about a lot of things. I don't think it's a fantasy. It's not a fantasy. It's kind of just like, I would consider it a literary fiction with fantastical elements. That's what I would consider it, because this read like a literary fiction. This book talks about and touches on so many different topics. Talks about like unhappiness in life, what you do about that, and then also just like relationships in general, like friendships, familial relationships, romantic relationships, all of that. It talks about all of that in such a profound way, such like an important way, I think, because what our character is going through, I guess I could tell you because it's on the back of the book. She was in this situation, and to get out of the situation, she made a deal essentially with what do they call him, the god of death, with luck, who is kind of like, I don't want to say this because I feel like it will deter some people for the book, but I don't really think that's what it is. He's essentially the devil, and she makes a deal with him, right, to kind of like have people not remember her. People can't remember her, and because of that, she can't really forge relationships. People don't remember her. Her family doesn't remember her. The people that she meets don't remember her, until one day this one person does remember her. And let me just say, it got me, okay? It made me very sad, and it was, I don't know, it was just a beautiful book, and I wish that there was just like another one. I feel like I need to read more by this author because this was just so good. It was just so good. And honestly, I'm not even gonna lie, there's not even a reason that this is not a 5-star. It just doesn't feel like a 5-star. And I've been saying that because I feel like a lot of the times I used to like just rate books 5 stars because I couldn't find any, like, because it was like a 4.75 and I couldn't find anything that I didn't like about the book to not make it a 5-star. So I'd be like, okay, it's a 5-star. This book was so good. I don't know why it's not a 5-star, but I do know that it is not a 5-star. Like, does that make sense? I feel like that makes sense, and if it doesn't, my bad. But this was a super beautiful book. I would recommend this book to people, but I would just check your trigger warnings because this book could be a little bit much. It could be a little bit much, but it was very good, very beautiful, very lyrical. So that's why I say it's like a literary fiction, because that's how it reads, but I don't know if that's considered literary fiction. It's on the fantasy, it's on my fantasy shelf. So, I mean, I'm kind of contradicting myself a little bit, but like, oh well. The next book I read, I started in March and then I finished it in April. Yeah, because I didn't finish it when I was in New York, but I did finish it shortly after that. And that is Out There Screaming by Jordan Peele. I was a little disappointed by this book. I can't lie. I was a little disappointed about what I got in this book. This is a collection of short stories or anthologies. Or no, a collection of short stories, horror stories by Black authors. Now, if you know me in real life, I love Jordan Peele. I think he is genius. Like, I think he is like so smart. And like some of my favorite movies are Jordan Peele movies. Like Us and Get Out, I rewatch those movies at least once a year. Like, I have movies and shows that I will rewatch at least once every year. You know, like, it's my comfort show. It's the anxiety that I have in me that makes me like need to do that. And Get Out is one of those movies that I watch at least once a year. And he came out with another movie. I don't remember when it was. It was kind of recent, but like kind of not. Nope. And that movie confused me. Maybe I'm just not smart enough. I think maybe I'm not smart enough for that movie because I was very confused on what it was about. So, and it was very much like a sci-fi horror, I think, and that's kind of what you're getting in here is sci-fi horror instead of like the Get Out Us horror that I was kind of expecting. But I don't know why I was expecting that. Like, he is so like out of here that I'm just like, I literally could have expected anything and be like, yeah, Jordan Peele would do that. So I don't know why I wasn't expecting like sci-fi type short stories, because that's what's in here. It's very much like sci-fi horror and not like traditional horror, I guess you could say. Now, I will say that a lot of the stories were very hit or miss for me. Some of them were good and then some of them weren't, and I think it's just because I wasn't expecting what it was that I got. But none of them were like horrible. Like, none of them were horrible. All of them were okay, and some of them were just really good. No, I couldn't tell you. Actually, there's one, where is it, that I actually really did like, if I could find it in here. The Siren was really good. I liked that one. And then there was another one, like about an eye or something. Where is it? Eye and Tooth. That one I also really liked. I thought that one was really good. But I realized that as I got like farther into the book, like the ones like later in the book, I think I liked more than the earlier ones. So take with that what you will. They're all very different, but kind of have the same like sci-fi elements to them. So those are my thoughts on this. This was a book that I was really excited to read, and unfortunately it just wasn't as good as I had my hopes up for it to be. But if you guys want to give it a try, I say yes. If you guys really like to Nope, read that. Now we're getting on to our, I said we're getting on to our April book, so that was an April book. The next two books, you guys have seen me talk about, so I don't really think I need to like go into depth about these ones because you guys have, they were in vlogs, so you guys know how I feel about these books. The next book I read was Notes on an Execution by Dania Kukapka. Y'all, I think I rated this a 4.75, but I still think about this book to this day. I read this book like a month ago, and I still think about this book. It was so good. This book is a 5-star. I'm gonna go ahead and say that. This book is a 5-star. It's the first kind of like, that isn't like a true crime novel, like a true crime nonfiction novel that I've read. And it was so like interesting because it was like a case study, but it was like, it's not a real person, but it was a case study on kind of like this serial killer, but also like the women in his life, which I think was very like, I think was a very good way and a very interesting way to kind of shape the book, is by telling it through the women in his life because of the people that he was killing. I thought this was really good. I thought there were so many like good parts in this book that like you could really learn from in your real life. I think this book really, it talks about a lot of things, but I think like the overarching theme is really like how trauma from your childhood and things that parents do, whether they feel it wasn't that serious or it wasn't going to affect a child, it does affect a child. Whether it's the mother or the father, what happens to a child when they are young will stick with them and then influence their decisions as they grow older. And I also think it touched on kind of like this romanticization. It's not the, y'all know what I mean, of serial killers. Because first of all, I think it's weird how people are kind of like, I've seen it a lot with the Menendez brothers, those ones, and Ted Bundy, how people are like, oh, but he's so cute, oh, but this, oh, but that, so like let him out of jail. That's not. So I think this kind of like lets you go into the mind of a serial killer and what they are doing, and kind of makes you deter from doing that, because no matter what a person looks like, you never know what they're thinking and what they're capable of. I've always thought that was so weird though. Like how, I don't know, but I thought this was really good. And seeing all of the different like points of views was really interesting to me, because it's literally a case study on the 4 people that you are following. You're following 4 different people. You're following Ansel Packer, who is the man, the serial killer, and then you're following 3 women. You're following Safi, who has known Ansel since she was young. You're following Lavender, who is his mom, and then you're following Hazel, who is the twin sister to his wife. And so everyone has their own opinions on him, has their own stories with him, and I just thought it was phenomenal. It was so good. So those are my thoughts on here. I don't really want to say too much about it because I feel, once again, you need to go into these books a little bit blind, but it was so good. It was so good. It is dual timeline. Well, not even necessarily dual timeline, because there's so many different times that you're talking about in this book, but it's like multiple different times in these people's lives that you are reading about. So 5 stars. It is officially a 5-star now. I think I rated it a 4.75 when I first read it, but I continue to think about that book. So that's what it is now. And then the last book of this video is The Song of Achilles by Madeline Miller. Y'all saw this in the Madeline Miller taste test reading vlog that I did. And I don't know how, as of right now, she's hit or miss for me, because one was really good and then one was not good. But she doesn't have any more books, so I guess I can't really test that theory anymore. But this one was really good. This one was a 4.75, and this one, I'm mad at myself because why did it take me so long to read this book? I say that with so many books. Why did it take me so long to read this book? Because you're a procrastinator, that's the problem. But also, like, I think I was just so nervous to read this book because so many people love this book, and I'm just like, what if I hate it? Like, that's scary. So many people love this book, and I'm just like, it's horrible. Like, that's how I felt about Magnolia Parks, and I was genuinely terrified to post that video. Well, not terrified, but I was a little scared to post that video because I'm like, are they gonna like be mean to me in the comments? Like, I'm a sensitive girl. Like, don't be mean to me because I don't like a book. And this is like loved. Like, this is loved by so many people, so I'm like, I'm a little scared to read this because what if I hate it? But I didn't. Actually, I ended up really liking it. I rated it a 4.75, and I am through and through a Greek mythology lover. This book made me buy the Odyssey and the Iliad, and I don't even like poetry. And it made me buy that because I'm like, I need to know the original story. So I bought those after I read this because I was like, this is so good. I loved the relationship between Achilles and Patroclus, and also Achilles and literally everyone around him, because that was Achilles and everyone around him as well as Patroclus and everyone around him, because they come from very different backgrounds, so they had very different like lives and interactions with people, and it was nice to see them kind of find comfort within each other. And I just thought it was really cute, guys. I thought, whoa, it was cute, like the parts with just them, but it was also very, very like high stakes, because I mean, this is about the war. What is the name of the war? I don't know. It's about the war. Y'all know what war I'm talking about, the one with the Achilles. The one with Achilles. You guys know what I'm talking about. If you don't, like, you should like look it up. You know, it's with the people of Troy, that war. Y'all know what I mean? Yeah. So it was very high stakes, but honestly, it took quite a while for us to even get to that point, because we are first and foremost following the story of Achilles and Patroclus. So it did take a little bit for us to get to that point in the story, but I don't know, I really liked it. Once again, I think this is a story that people should go into blind. I, surprisingly, throughout all of the people that I've seen talk about this book, did not know very much about this book. I knew that it was about Achilles. I knew that it was a Greek mythology retelling, and that is pretty much all I knew. And I am glad that I went into it pretty blind and just knowing those things, because I think that if I went in with so many other people's like perceptions and opinions on the book, I think it would have changed how I thought about this book. But so that's all I'm going to say about this. 4.75, really good. If you like Greek mythology retellings, definitely read this. And even if you don't, read this. If you like an LGBTQ plus love story, read it. If you like a war story, read it. If you just like to read it. So yeah, those were the 6 books that I read within March and April. If you guys have read any of those books, let me know how you guys feel about them, especially the ones that I'm kind of like iffy on and that are like super popular. And tell me how you feel about them. I'd like to know your opinions on them. But other than that, I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye.